Hey guys, and welcome to the Chroma side of YouTube. So today we're going to finish up our project, and I am going to be using a Dremel tool. The Dremel tool is like a really cool teeny tiny mini saw, and this is the cap that we designed, and it's not too flashy, not too crazy, and it matches that mannequin very nicely. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to go ahead and mark how far down that cap comes down on the neck area of our mannequin. So we're going to finish up this project, but I did want to let you all know that I am doing this voiceover and there is a little bit of construction going on outside. So if there are noises or pauses in this video, I do apologize. So I'm really excited on how this came out. The first part of this video was really cool and successful. So now let's finish it up. What I'm doing here is I have a vintage bird cage, which I thought would be gorgeous as basically the head of our mannequin. And I don't know, I really enjoy the idea of a bird cage being her head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on the top of the mannequin and mark where all those bars are, which is why we need the Dremel tool. Now, this mannequin is made of fiberglass, so you do, whenever you're working with fiberglass, need to wear a mask or a face covering because you don't want to breathe that in. And I'm using the grinder part of that tool so that I get a nice wide groove for those bars to sit down in. And I'm just making grooves where we made marks for those bars to sit safely down into and basically have a nice tight grip onto our mannequin. And I don't know how well you can see, but I am taking that groove just a little bit down below the line because I want that bird cage to sit snugly underneath where the cap would stop. So I don't know if this makes any sense to you all, but it kind of made sense to me when I was thinking of it. What I'm doing here essentially is I'm making basically a 3D collage. I am collaging items together to make one piece. And I don't know what I'm going to call this piece just yet, but I've had this vision for such a long time. I've been thinking about the bird cage, the mannequin, and the embellishment that we put on there afterwards. Okay guys, so we've gotten our grooves all nice and ground out with that Dremel tool. And now we're going to put our bird cage down on the mannequin to make sure everything fits in place and is exactly what we wanted. If not, then we'll make our adjustments accordingly, but I think this is going to do it. And of course, it does take a little bit of manhandle, but there you have it. It does fit on the mannequin head just the way we wanted. So now we are going to get ready to move on to the next portion of this video, which would be to add our next layer to the mannequin itself. I love the way the mannequin looks right now, but I just feel like it needs a little bit more. So I thought, stamps, no. Stencils, no. I just think it needs a little bit of transparent paint. So what we're going to do is we're going to use some mixing medium to add to some acrylic paint to make it a little more transparent. And I will add a screenshot of what I'm using, all the supplies, because in editing I realized I lost the shot part of my table. So this is what I'm using: GAC 800, some Vicky Bouton paint, and some Daler Rowney paint. So there's a light creamy looking pink, We have a coffee looking brown, white, and GAC 800 with a little bit of gold paint. Now, these gold paint tubes, they were almost empty. Well, they were technically empty if you squeeze on them. But if you ever have a tube of paint, cut it open. Take your paintbrush and stick it inside and see how much paint is actually left in that tube. Man, you will be surprised. There's tons of paint left in the tube. So never be done with your paint until you cut it open. Because you know me, I'm all about saving you guys some money and showing you guys the tricks. So that's what I do is I cut open my paint tubes and I scoop out some of that paint. So how I'm going to do this is, and you can see, I will add a little bit of that GAC 800 to the acrylic paint, and what that does is it thins out the paint to be transparent without breaking up the polymers. And we've talked about polymers on this channel before. Polymers are what makes the paint stick to your surface. So if you use water, which you can use water to thin down paint, you run the risk of it not really being as permanent as it could be. So I want this paint to be on there, not move. So I added a little GAC 800 to this gold paint, and then I'm going to haphazardly brush it all over this mannequin. And when I do that, I'm going to take a paper towel, especially with some of the more opaque colors. The gold color is transparent itself, but the three Vicky Bouton paints are very, very opaque. So I am going to add the GAC to all of the colors and then paint it haphazardly on this bust. And I'm going to paint it randomly onto the bust every which way. And then I'm going to take a paper towel and kind of wipe some of it back so that you can see some of that background going on. I didn't want to get rid of that altogether. And I think it worked out very nicely for me. So here we go. Let's do that. And I'll be right back. Alright guys, so I think I just put the finishing touches on this mannequin, and as you can see, I had the effect that I wanted. Now I'm going to use our silk flowers. These flowers came from Hobby Lobby, and all I'm doing is cutting the actual blooms from the stems, and I'll also be cutting the actual leaves off of the stems as well. And my idea is to take a little E6000, because we all love E6000, and I will show a picture of that coming up in the video when I'm ready to use it. And I'm going to attach these flowers going up the bust in a cascading manner. And I think this is gonna be gorgeous. I can't wait to see this part. I've had it, like I said, in my head for such a long time, and I just couldn't wait to collage all these things together to make something beautiful. So after I finish those flowers, I'll be moving on to the next step, but here you go. This is how I'm going to do it. Now keep in mind, whenever you're using E6000, you do need to give it time to set. So this is edited in a way to look like I just kind of went through and just stuck these flowers on. But guys, I really did have to give it time to set. So I would actually sit and glue 2 or 3 flowers in different positions. And then I would lay something against the flower to keep it on the mannequin until the glue set, and then I would move on to the next one. And it was quite a long process, but I'm so glad I did it. Anyway, if you have a vision, stick with it. If you think that you can do something, try until you figure out how to do it, because in the end, your vision can become something gorgeous. So without further ado, this is how I stick on my flowers. Literally, I just used E6000. I love E6000. I think it's amazing. It's great. I did end up using like half of a whole tube to do this project, but I really didn't want those flowers to go anywhere. So without further ado, here are the flowers. Okay, so I finished putting the flowers up the bust. Now I'm going to put the flowers going up into the bird cage because I do want it to be cohesive. And I'm also going to put the cap back on to the mannequin, but I don't want that to come off. So I'm going to use the E6000 in the cap as well. I'm going to squirt that around in there, and then I'm going to take a popsicle stick and I'm going to smooth that E6000 through and make it permanent. Alright, guys, so now we're going to finish up the last bit, the very last element, which is doing the angel wings. You heard me, I am going to put angel wings on this bad boy. And I'm using my little Ryobi drill to do some pilot holes. I'm going to go grab a couple of screws and I'm going to pop them in the back of this mannequin. And then I'm going to add these beautiful black angel wings. And then I'm going to add the fleur-de-lis. I forget where I bought this, but I'm pretty sure it was Tuesday morning in the jewelry making section. So we're adding that fleur-de-lis to hide where the screws are. And I think it's going to pull all of it together because honestly, I do believe that this mannequin has a very French Baroque type feel to her. And I can't wait for it to be done. I mean, had so much fun figuring these puzzle pieces out and figuring out how to do this, and I'm very happy with it. Now the only thing that I have left is to find a pole for her to sit on. She does have a little area on the bottom where you can put a stand. And I'm thinking I might try to find like an old floor lamp or something like that in order to put a stand on her. But that would be later because I don't have that piece and I just wanted to get this started. So stay tuned for pictures of the finished product. And I hope you guys were inspired. I hope you guys see that, just because you have a few pieces that are like big and bulky doesn't mean you can't collage them together anyway. And please, as always, just have fun. Be inspired to go off and collage a few things that you find in thrift shops and things like that on your own. And always have fun. And I really hope that you guys were inspired today. I hope that you guys go out and do something for yourselves. And I hope that you try something new. As always, have a great day. Bye bye, y'all.